Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. Let's get right to our top story. President Trump says the U.S. is going to start striking Venezuela on land. The president says those land strikes will start very soon as part of his crackdown on drug trafficking. Now, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says if that happens, Congress will invoke the War Powers Act. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is trying to distance himself from a deadly strike on a suspected drug boat that some are calling a war crime.
I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war.
As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack.
Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers, senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez, and ABC's Matt Rivers in Trinidad and Tobago for more. Hi, Karen. So Trump seems to also be really distancing himself from this strike.
He did yesterday when he was asked if now he supports a second strike, because remember, Diane, when he was first asked about this on Sunday, he said he wouldn't support a second strike, that the first one was lethal and very fine. Yesterday, sitting next to the defense secretary in the cabinet meeting, the president said he didn't have a lot of information because he's relying on Pete Hegseth. The defense secretary yesterday also said that the decision to launch the second strike was not his call, that it's the mission commander, Admiral Mitch Bradley, who made that decision, which Hegseth said was the correct decision. He said he made the right call. We have his back. It was also notable yesterday to hear the defense secretary say he wasn't there to see the second strike. When you go back and hear what he said in early September, he was on television the day after that strike saying that he watched it in real time. We now know he was only there for that first strike. He said he left to go to meetings and didn't see the second strike. Diane, there are still a lot of questions about what the administration knew about the survivors, and also, will we see video of that second strike, and what will it show?
And Louis, several lawmakers are now requesting briefings on this boat strike. How's the Pentagon handling that?
Well, we understand that Admiral Bradley actually is in town and is preparing for briefings tomorrow that'll take place on Capitol Hill with members of the Senate, House Armed Services Committee, as well as the Intelligence Committees. What they are going to be preparing for are the very tough questions that we're hearing publicly right now over the last couple of days of whether what occurred with that second strike on that boat actually constitutes a war crime. Why did it have to happen? And as Karen mentioned, they want to see that video as well. They want to see whether, for themselves, what is actually happening as it played out. Now, it's unclear whether that video is actually going to be released or not, and whether those members of Congress are going to get their wish, but it would go a long way if it did, but uncertain if that is actually going to happen. But we do know that Admiral Bradley will be preparing some answers to provide answers about, as best as he can tell or knows, part of the narrative of what exactly happened that day. We heard from Secretary Hegseth yesterday that he wasn't watching when that second strike occurred, and he inferred that this was a very long incident, in about 1 to 2 hours in duration. So I think that's something that is going to have to be explained to the members of Congress.
And Matt, you're off the coast of Venezuela. What's the latest on the U.S. show of force there, and how is Venezuela responding to all of this?
Well, there's still a lot of ships in these waters, no question about it. It's a very tense time in this part of the world, in part, Dan, because no one really knows exactly what's going to happen next. We know the president continues to get briefed by his national security advisors, by military members about what the options for strikes inside Venezuela would be. We know in the last couple of days, President Trump has said multiple times that he is moving towards some sort of land action in Venezuela. But exactly what that looks like, whether that involves some sort of troop presence on the ground, whether that's just airstrikes, whether we really don't know. And I think that's what this entire region is really looking at. When you have so many thousands of military members in the waters off the coast here, we saw images of the USS Gerald R. Ford, the most lethal advanced aircraft carrier in the world. We saw images of that off the coast of St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands in the last couple of days. So clearly the show of force is still here. You heard Pete Hegseth talk about it yesterday. They are going to continue, they say, to target these drug boats. But when it comes to what they're going to do in Venezuela, we just simply do not know yet. And added that kind of simmering tension in this part of the world. As for Venezuela and its president, Nicolas Maduro, he continues to hold rallies. He continues to be out in public, perhaps smaller rallies than in the past. He's not everywhere all the time, but he is trying to have a public presence still in a show of defiance against the United States, even as we know there's been reporting that he's made some conciliatory gestures to the U.S. that have so far been rebuffed.
Karen, is the White House offering any more details on these potential land strikes?
No, the president yesterday, Diane, said, I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, I will attack on land also. But Matt just nailed it right there, just saying we don't know what they're going to do. The president had a meeting with his national security team here at the White House on Monday, and the White House confirmed that Venezuela was one of the topics they were going to discuss, among other issues. The president last week, talking to U.S. service members on Thanksgiving, indicated that there could be some land operation in Venezuela very soon, but didn't indicate what that would look like. And as Matt said, there's already this show of force there with the aircraft carrier, with 15,000 U.S. forces. But right now, the president has not indicated what he is going to do, just keeps saying these statements that something could be coming very soon.
All right, Karen Travers, Louis Martinez, Matt Rivers, thank you.